pretty well. At the moment, we're lying in third place. We're about 20-something miles behind the leader. We're about to get a position report in, so hopefully we would have clawed back a few miles. But our boat speed's really good in comparison to the front, and at the moment we're in a podium spot. We're fighting like hell to keep that spot.
Liz Wardley on Turn the Tide on Plastic. We're going to be hearing more from them. Francesca Klapčić comes on the line, and she gave us a little bit of an update on that battle that they are having for first place with Dongfeng Race Team and Team Brunel. Plus, we're going to be hearing from Vestas 11th Hour Racing, and also former competitor Ken Reed weighs in on what he thinks of the whole Mafre situation that the Spanish boat now finds himself in second overall. Plus, we're going to want your opinions on who we think is going to be out on top in the next few days on the race to Newport. So let's jump to the live positions and take a little look at what's happening on the race course right now. It is leg 8 of the Volvo Ocean Race. From Brazil, Itajaí was where the start line was, all the way up to Newport. And we're into the closing stages, under 2,000 miles to go. But meanwhile, at the back, Sunhunkai Scallywag, they are a good way off the leaders, sailing fast at the moment as they've joined the breeze of the rest of the fleet. But ahead of them, they do have quite a lot of miles to catch up. Team Axonobel, who in the last half an hour or so have sailed a little bit more of a northerly course as Mafre, feeling confident, starts putting their bows down and tries to go quickly. And this is the group that they're chasing, the top 4 at the moment. Vestas 11th Hour Racing and Turn the Tide on Plastic, 4th and 3rd. Both boats just skirting around 20 knots of boat speed. And marginally ahead of them, Dongfeng Race Team, 21 knots out to the western side. The Chinese boat going very fast indeed with Team Brunel on top. But Francesca Klapčić, she dialed in just before we came on air. Turn the Tide on Plastic were leading this race. And I asked her whether they think they could get it back, who was keeping her company on the deck, and what the race was like.
Hi everybody, we are in the Caribbean Sea, and on deck we have Freddy at the main, Bianca that is grinding right now, and Liz driving. So it's a morning watch, and it's a pretty nice day with the sun, still nice breeze. We have between 20 and 24 knots now, so we are sailing quite fast. It's really nice.
For all your fans that are following the race on the tracker, it looks quite simple. There's no tacks, there's no jibes, but I'm guessing out on the water, you guys are working hard for every meter.
Yeah, no, sure. It's not about maneuver right now, but it's really about boat speed. So we are really focused on try to trim the sails as best as possible and try to keep the boat as fast as possible. We have the scats every 6 hours, so we know how we were doing compared to the other boats, and we are trying to be the fastest every time. Also, if it's not possible, it's our goal.
You had such a strong start to this leg. You made all the right decisions. You were leading. You've got so many fans on the shore hoping that you regain that lead, and I've got to ask you the burning question. How confident do you guys feel?
I'm always confident until the finish line. For me, the race starts at the starting line and the race finish at the finish line. So I think the game is really open. Also, if from outside, maybe it seems that Brunel took a solid lead, but everything can happen. It's still 2,000 miles to go, and I think everyone on the boat is really confident that we can make a really good result. I think we deserve to make a good result for all the legs where we lost in the last miles, and I think we find a really good boat speed, and we are confident, and our performance is quite solid.
Francesca Klapčić on Turn the Tide on Plastic, and as she says, the boat, unfortunately, is used to losing their miles gained in the last few moments of the race. But so far in this leg, they have been absolutely on fire. So what we want to do is we want to get your opinions on this. Let's take a little bit of a look at where they are on the race course and just remind ourselves of the challenge that is facing Turn the Tide on Plastic. At the moment, the speed is certainly good. They are in 3rd place. Team Brunel in 1st, 20 knots. And just look at the distances here. Turn the Tide on Plastic, 33 miles behind 1st place Team Brunel. Vestas 11th Hour Racing just 7 miles behind them. Dongfeng Race Team, 13 miles in front. So, what can Turn the Tide on Plastic do from here? Can they hold on to this third spot? Could they move into second? Could they retake the lead in this leg and win, have their first win into New Point? Have a little look at some of the numbers here that we've pulled off from the racetrack. These are the statistics that the performance data is giving us. And top right-hand side, average speed over 24 hours. The blue bar, Turn the Tide on Plastic. The yellow bar, Team Brunel. That's the #1 spot at the moment. They are sailing incredibly well. White, Mafre, they're also charging along, as are Team Axonabel. But Turn the Tide on Plastic right now, they're a little bit slower than Team Brunel, or at least they have been, but they're not too far off the pace. So then, a little bit of a question for you. We're going to open up to a poll live here for this video. What we want to know is, can Turn the Tide on Plastic finish? Can they claim their first podium result in the Volvo Ocean Race? Will it be a first? Will it be a second? Could it be a third? We want to know whether it's going to be a podium finish for Di Cafari and her crew. This is how you vote. On the comments, hashtag yes if you think that Di Cafari absolutely has the skills, the talent, and the experience now at this stage in the race to do just that. Or no, do we think that Dongfeng Race Team, Vestas 11th Hour Racing, and Team Brunel are going to overhaul them? Hashtag yes if you think they're going to be able to do it, and hashtag no if you don't think they're going to be able to. And we're going to be keeping our eye on that poll. But for now, let's take a look at, well, maybe their nearest rival. 7 miles away, it is Vestas 11th Hour Racing. They are desperate to get some points on the board. The last 4 legs, they haven't been able to score anything. But now on the water, they are doing very well. And I caught up with skipper Charlie Enright, asked him who it was that was on the boat at the moment, sailing fast, and what the racing was like.
What do we got? We got Big Tony Mutter here on the pedestal. We got Tommy Johnson driving, and we got Stacy Jackson in the main currently. It's pretty good. We're averaging, between 20 and 23 knots, the last, I'd say, 48 hours. Fast trade wind reaching, kind of everything you sign up for when you read the old Volvo Ocean Race brochure.
We're having flashes of deja vu here. Team Brunel blasting away out at front like they did on the last leg. Can the Dutch boat be beaten, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think they certainly can be beaten. There's only one perfect way to transit a high-pressure system. We got that in front of us, and then, after that, we got a Gulfstream frontal crossing, so you can see miles go either direction pretty quickly there. And the models are in a little disagreement as to what's going to happen at the finish, but all 7 boats could be bobbing around next to each other at Martha's Vineyard.
And a rather special moment for you guys coming up, pulling into Newport. American cruise coming into America. That's got to be something special. Yeah,
it's awesome. I mean, Newport really comes out. We'd like to finish in the best position possible, that's for sure. And, in good weather at a good time of day, because Newport always comes out. And, they're definitely not going to disappoint. This is, at least on the scale for the moms and dads at home, kind of, we're on the back foot relative to where we'd hope we'd be. So we're pushing hard, and we got about 2,000 miles left to sort out our situation.
Charlie Enright with Vestas 11th Hour Racing, currently in 4th place. But let's just have a little bit of a look back here at the poll that we just asked you a minute ago. We were asking whether Di Cafari and the crew on Turn the Tide on Plastic can claim their first podium finish. They're currently in 3rd, but this is the result at the moment. 73% of you say, yeah, absolutely. The skill is there, the drive is there. 27% say no. All right, well, fair enough. We'll keep a little bit of an eye on that. I mean, at the moment, they are in 3rd place. They were leading this race, they were leading this leg earlier on, making all the moves right. So we'll see which way your opinion moves as the show goes on. But for now, let's remind ourselves of the overall battle. This is leg 8. And the way the Volvo Ocean Race works, it is a 9-month marathon for the teams all the way around the planet. And Dongfeng Race Team and Mafre, they have set themselves up for the overall goal. And it is spooky. If we look back at what the 2 skippers and navigators from those 2 teams were saying back in Alicante, just how accurately they were predicting the closeness of this fight at this stage. You guys are, one of the favorites. The odds are on you. Who are you scared of?
Well, we're scared of everyone a little bit. Of course, if you make me choose one, probably I would choose Dongfeng as the most prepared team. Of course, they start like us, or even earlier than us. They have a group of people which they sailed together last time again in that boat, which they already shows very good performance. And they have some new people, which is a lot of experience as well. And And we've been, you know, doing leg zero against them, doing some training in Spain as well, and they show a very good speed. So I'm pretty sure, we are sure that they're going to be very strong.
Scared them?
Whoa.
No, no scared.
We are,
No scared them.
since the beginning, for me, Mapfre is a favorite, and I think they prove us during. We have been training with them. We know how strong they are. We like this team, and you know, it's a bit like us. It's a team who has been sailing together for so long. Now most of them, half of the crew, have been has done maybe 4 or 5 races together. They never win, but they always been very close. So it would be a strong team.
Everyone says this, but it's true that in all the teams is very good people, very good crews. We can already see Brunel even started so late. They are in a very, very good level with brilliant people on board. A lot of experienced people in AkzoNobel, in Vestas, in all the teams really. So every boat is going to have his moment, and you know, for us that's why our real goal is to start well and make sure we don't have very bad results at the beginning.
The other team, most of them are new, but on each of them you are fantastic navigator, I think, and you are very good sailor who was part of Brunel and a very strong team last time, so it's going to be very different. I'm sure the race will be much more hard to win than last time.
The brains trust of Mapfre and Dongfeng race team getting it absolutely on the money. Right now, those two teams separated by only 1 point as we move into the final stages of this edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. So to give us a little bit of idea as to what's at stake, let's take a look at this. This is the projected overall scoreboard, not the official scoreboard, but what it would look like at the end of this leg if everybody finished in their current positions. Well, Dongfeng race team would go 4 points clear of Mapfre, and Team Brunel with Bauer Becking currently winning at the moment, they would close that gap down to 4. Turn the Tide on Plastic, they are doing nicely at the moment, 3rd place. It could go even higher than that, but if they finished in 3rd, they would only be 2 points off 5th place with Vestas 11th Hour Racing and Team Sun Hunkai Scallywag joint on points, 27th apiece. Now we're asking for your opinions on our poll at the moment. Turn the Tide on Plastic currently lying in 3rd place. Could this be the time that Di Cafari holds onto that podium spot all the way into the finish in Newport? They've certainly put out an incredible performance on this leg. In fact, the last 2 legs, they have really come to the front. But it seems to be drifting a little bit more towards the negative. Still overwhelmingly positive, but it was, by my memory, 73%. It's now 68%. So if you think that Di Cafari can be there at the front of the fleet, maybe turn this 3rd into a 2nd or a 1st, get in there. Hashtag yes if you think that Di Cafari can hold on to the podium. Hashtag no if you think that Dongfeng race team, Vestas 11th Hour Racing and Team Brunel are just a little bit too experienced maybe at this point. But I got to say, fingers crossed for Turn the Tide on Plastic. But we'll keep an eye on that. For now, let's just check in with our Fantasy Watch. If you're watching the show on Monday, I asked Conrad Coleman what 3 sailors he would pick to join him on a fantasy boat out there on the ocean, racing in the Volvo Ocean Race. Anybody from any of the teams. He picked Charles Cordrellia. He picked, someone's memory remind me here. Oh, he picked Nico Lundven, navigator on Turn the Tide on Plastic, plus Francesca Klapčić. She was on board Turn the Tide on Plastic. We spoke to her earlier. And I asked you to pick some holes in his logic. A lot of you actually supported what he's saying, and for very good reasons, I'm sure. But 1 or 2 of you did come up with some suggestions of your own. We had Brian Gallagher come in with a couple of names. One of them stood out for me. Emily Nagel. She's on board Team AkzoNobel, and she is an absolute fighter. Her on action on the water, we have seen her time and time again getting stuck into the nitty-gritty of sailing these Volvo Ocean 65s. An injury on leg 3, and a severe one at that, saw her move to the bench, but she worked hard on her recovery, and now Simeon Teampoint, the skipper, has got her back on the boat in fighting form, and she is a sailor that we know that the boat relies on for a lot of situations. And we just thought we'd take a little bit of a look as to why it is that Emily Nagel is so relied upon on this boat. Could it be that she knows exactly how to motivate her crew members just when the days are ticking by on these long legs?
That was lucky from yesterday. I already ate them.
Nicola, I do have a stash of something for our watch.
Oh, nice. In the meantime, I need some cookies. Oh, that was a good snack.
It's a good bunk to be in.
Or queen of the snacks, but could it be her ability to keep an eye on what's going on the boat and sometimes to crack the whip with the sailors on board when they start messing with how she's packed everything away?
No, I think we're halfway through our gas. So before we even get to the bottom of it, until we work it out, we've got to stop cups of coffee.
Yesterday somebody changed too, right? No. So they go. No one should have changed any. I told people not to change them so I could keep track of this. One. Empty. Full 3. Full 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. We've got 8 full bottles left. We've got 8 full ones left. False alarm, basically.
Or could it simply be that Emily Nagel has got a degree in ship science, and as we can see from how punchy the boat has been sailing, the speeds that they've been turning out, certainly over the last 24 hours, when you need someone to apply the numbers, the mathematics, and the sheer science of making a boat go fast, somebody like Emily Nagel is certainly a person that you can rely on. So, Brian Gallagher, I've got to say, you come up with some very good names. Conrad Coleman is going to be joining me on the show tomorrow. And if you think you can come up with some better names as to who's made a difference this week and maybe in the race going beyond, then let us know. Now then, yesterday we did speak to Team Axon-Nobel and we put your questions to Luke Malloy. One question in particular stood out from us from a 9-year-old fan. Avery McConnell sent in a great one and we just couldn't wait to get a personal response from the crew on board.
G'day Avery, I hear you've got a few questions for us.
So our boat is coloured the way it is because Axon-Nobel is a paint protective coatings company, and so they wanted to show off their products on this boat, so they actually made different custom colours for our boat, and the white on our boat is actually pearl, so it glistens in the sun.
And it's supposed to be the boat that stands out the most, and I reckon it does. What's your favourite food, mate?
I'd have to say at the moment spaghetti carbonara is going down nicely.
That is a good one.
What about yours?
My favourite food has probably got to be the backcountry roast lamb. It's nice on these cold legs. Big meal. Hope that answers all your questions, mate.
Brad Ferrand and Luke Malloy on board Team Axon-Nobel. And don't forget, we love to pass on your questions onto the sailors and get your opinions as to who is doing well on the water right now and who is going to be on top at the finish line all the way in The Hague. One person that knows all too well what it takes to do a fast performance here on the water for the Volvo Ocean Race, Ken Reid, former competitor at the Volvo Ocean Race and president of North Sails. And before we came on air, I asked him about the current fall guide and whether fans of Mafre should worry at all now that they've lost the overall lead.
This is kind of threefold. First of all, I think Mafre and Dongfeng, by testing and training together prior to the race, they jumped out to a big speed advantage. And it's pretty traditional in a Volvo Ocean Race that everybody catches up. For sure, the fleet has gotten better and caught up to them. But secondly, you know, there's a little bit of luck factor involved there. You know, the gremlins come out in some boats at some times, and they come out on other boats and other times. Obviously, that Southern Ocean leg with the track problems on the mast, which led to the sail problem. You know, that was a tough break. Listen, I see them turning it around. I really do. They've had some tough luck, I think on this leg. That electronics problem, that's a gremlin you can never shake. But listen, that boat's too talented to stay back where they are. Don't count them out on this leg either.
Mafre still very much a contender for the lead. I'm sure that no one will disagree with you on that. But what about some boats that maybe have been a bit more surprising? Team Brunel, they seem to have appeared out of nowhere on third spot on the podium.
It's not surprising. You look at that kid that drove the little Kiwi catamaran in the last America's Cup. I think he's got a little bit of talent, and Bauer's done a nice job of surrounding himself with young talent that, same thing, kind of took a while to gel, took a while to figure out the boat. This is a different animal. Boats are kind of tippy and tender. You got to figure out all kinds of heel angles and sail combinations, strange sail combinations. So I don't think it's a shocker. But I'll tell you what, with this displacement sailing they're doing right now up through the Caribbean, up through the trades, they clearly have found another gear. They're not only fast, but they're keeping weather gauge. And that weather gauge, that's gold. When you expect this power reaching to continue for a while, that weather gauge they have, man, they can cash that into a bigger lead anytime they want right now. So very impressive.
So let me ask you about the team that have so far failed to get a leg win, but leading the race overall. Dongfeng race team, I mean, are they living up to your expectations?
You know, their whole leadership group there at Dongfeng, they came in with a plan. You know, one thing that's very interesting is how they've mixed up their crew quite a bit more. They got Stu Bannatyne back on for this leg. They've kind of kept some fresh legs, you know, through the whole race. Whereas, you know, Mapfre, on the other hand, has kind of gone old school. We're sticking with our group. It's really only injuries that are going to change our plan, our core group on board. So, you know, this is pre-race strategy. All of a sudden, kind of coming to light. Hey, you know what? If you never win a leg, who cares? Because if you carry the big trophy home at the end, then I think that's all anybody really cares about at this stage.
Well, Vestas 11th Hour Racing, they'll be a boat that is trying to do just that, just have those little good performances and trying to show their fans what they can be made of. And for this finish into the United States, we've got Mark Tao, Charlie Enright, Nick Dana as well, all sailing into home waters. That's got to be a good feeling for them.
Yeah, especially for Nick, who grew up here in Newport, and Charlie, who grew up right up the bay in Bristol. This is pretty special. Listen, nobody's trying harder than those guys to win this leg. They talk about gremlins, talk about, you know, a little bit of bad luck. Those guys have been covered in bad luck, really, this whole race so far, and they need a break. You know, they even had some bad luck going into the doldrums, with the lead, and so a bit of a shame. But they need to improve their power reaching speed. There's no doubt about it. I've talked to Charlie about it quite a bit. And you're seeing that they're slowly kind of falling back right now, but hey, there's a lot of racing to go, and a leg win coming into your home port, I can't imagine anything better than that.
Well, either way, they're going to be able to expect a pretty fantastic welcome into the finish in Newport. I mean, Newport, surely they're going to be putting on a pretty good show.
It's a show, and for anybody, especially for anybody watching this in North America, you're a sailboat racer, interested in sailing, interested in this offshore sailing, you got to show up. You got to be here, because it's really going to be nice. And obviously the weather is just starting to improve. For anybody, especially Northeast, East Coast of the United States, it's really something special here. This has a whole amazing vibe to it, all kinds of stuff to do for the whole family. And I would highly recommend stopping by and checking out the scene.
A fantastic welcome waiting for the teams in Newport at the finish line. But first of all, they've got to get there, and one boat that's got a few more miles than the rest is Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. At the moment, they are suffering from some poor decisions in the early stage of the race. They do have a chance to make it up, but they're going to need to pull out all the stops. And before we came on air with the show today, Alex Goff sent us this quick update.
Yeah, so we've been bleeding a fair few miles every sked now for the last probably 3 or 4 days. Basically, you know, we're not really sailing the boat slow or anything like that. We're pushing it as fast as we can, but we just don't have enough wind. Basically, the guys in the front ahead of us have got more wind, so they're just putting more miles on us. This is what the Volvo's all about, blast reaching for 4 or 5 days. So yeah, this is what you dream of. So it's awesome. All the guys are having plenty of fun on the wood and up on deck. So yeah, it's good.
Sun Hun Kai Scallywag chasing down the competitors as the clock starts to run out. But let's check in with the poll. We asked you a quick question about Turn the Tide on Plastic, currently third at the moment, and could this be the chance for them to get their first podium result? 69% say yes. It's starting to creep a little bit up. 31% say no. And there's one comment here that I want to flag up here because, well, you're all weighing in with your opinions, but I think this one pretty much sums it up for me. John Perryboom says, well, he voted yes, but it ain't over till it's finished. And I think that's pretty much sums up the entire thing. And you can follow it all the way right up to the finish line with the tracker. It is live, and it will remain live, fingers crossed, all the way to the finish line, the final finish line in The Hague. Now then, this is the end of our show, but it is not over for today. At 1700 UTC, we are going to be trying to connect 1500, I do apologize, 1500 UTC, hoping to connect with Team Brunel for a live drone and interview. Join us for that. Fingers crossed that all the technology works. Plus, tomorrow, we're going to be hearing from Turn the Tide on Plastic at the top of the show, live. We're going to be connecting with them. We're going to be sailing along with them for the opening 5 minutes, checking out what they're doing on board as they try and chase down Team Brunel and reclaim that top spot. Join us for a full-packed show tomorrow.